What are you still to decide? What are you still got to consider?
Well, we've got to consider the conditions again. We've had quite a lot of rain over the last 24 hours, so just have another look at that wicket, make sure we're really clear and sure on what the 11 we want to go into the game with is, and make sure that we have the best tools for these conditions and the surface that's in front of us.
Is the top order decided?
Yes, the top order is pretty cemented, but as I say, we'll give you the team when we announce it later on today.
And can I just ask you about Dan Lawrence, if he does make his debut? What have you made of him, and does he look ready for Test cricket?
Yeah, I think he's a very exciting young player. You've obviously seen what he can do in county cricket over the last couple of years, and in Lions cricket last winter, I think he was really impressive. So his ability to soak up pressure, but also to really put sides under pressure with a range of shots. Very confident young guy. I'm very excited to see him get into his work when he gets his chance.
Do you feel at all underprepared going into this series because of the nature of the tour, no warm-up games, and the fact you haven't played Test cricket for such a long time?
I think we've prepared as best we can, and that's all you can do really. We've obviously had a very short lead into this game, but at the same time we've made the most of everything that we've got and had. So I can't ask any more of the guys. We've done had some really good conversations about the conditions and what to expect. We've had guys with some really good experiences over here on the previous tour, and some very exciting young players. When you put all that together, it blends nicely, and hopefully we can transfer that into the game tomorrow.
And we know spin always plays a big part in Sri Lanka, and particularly in Galle as well. How important is it that you adapt to that battle, that challenge, and the conditions too?
Yeah, I think that's one of the big challenges of coming and playing in Sri Lanka and in the subcontinent, is the rhythm of the game is so different to playing in English conditions. They face a lot more spin, a lot more double spin at both ends. And, that's part and parcel of playing in this part of the world. So it's really important that guys are ready for that, not just the rhythm of the game, but the amount of spin and how quickly that can happen, how quickly within a day that the conditions can change. So they're all things that we've discussed at length as a batting group and as a team. And last time it felt like whoever adapted quickest and read and grabbed those big moments in the games won, and thankfully we managed to do that. So hopefully we can repeat that this time round.
And finally, from me, can I just ask you about player welfare? Moeen's looks like he's not going to play a part in this tour at all, having been isolating. Chris Woakes isolated for a week. Are you confident as the captain of this team that players won't suffer? It won't be to the detriment of players this year, all this bubble life?
Well, I think this bubble life is very tough. I think there's no point trying to mask over that. I think the most important thing is that we're open and honest as players about how we're feeling and how we're dealing with it. And if at any stage it does get too much, then we can make a plan to make that right. And the ECB have been very supportive of that. That at any stage, if that is the case, then we can get ourselves out of the bubble and back to some form of normality. But all we can do is try and make sure that we're there for each other as players, and make sure that we look after one another as best as possible.
Thanks, Joe. Go well.
Thank you.
Okay, Rory from PA, please.
Hi, Joe. Morning. We've talked obviously a lot about the spinning conditions and stuff already, but I wonder if you could focus a little bit for us just on Dom Bess. He's played 10 Test matches for you, but never in conditions like this. He's either had to pretty much hold up an end, or last summer a couple of innings didn't even get the ball in his hand. I just wonder, you could sort of tell us if we're potentially due to see another side of him. Obviously, when he came into the team in Somerset, it was often on spinning conditions where he could sort of express himself a bit more and attack the batsman. Yeah,
and I think that will hold him in really good stead. The fact that he's experienced really big spinning conditions already at home in Somerset colours, and also he had success at Port Elizabeth as well, where it did spin quite drastically as well. So he's got the ability and the skills to, if it does start spinning quite quickly, then to take advantage of that. And I think it's just a really good opportunity for him to show what he can do in these conditions.
Do you think these next 6 or 7 weeks can sort of give him that springboard to really kick on again and really make his mark as an attacking spinner, wicket taker?
Yeah, and I think that wherever you go in the world, your role will change in different conditions. And I think if you're looking at rounding out the best all-round package as a player, you have to be able to experience that and understand what your role is in those given conditions. And someone at the start of his career, he's still learning that, and that's exciting to see that he has had success already, and coming into these conditions where they might be more slightly in his favour, that he could potentially go on and really make a mark on this tour. And
just a quick one on, I don't know if you've probably had time to see all the other stuff that's going on over in England, but a few of the footballers, and with the FA Cup weekend just having been criticised for sort of slackening up really in terms of celebrating and hugging and those big emotional moments in the matches. They've been sort of forgetting themselves in terms of social distancing, and cases obviously on the rise over here. Just wonder are you still under strict orders about celebrations and stuff, just to to be seen to be doing the right thing over there?
I'm sure the medical staff will make sure that the protocols are kept in place, and that if there is anything that needs to be discussed before the game starts, that we're made very well aware of it, and we'll do as best as we can to make sure that we adhere to that.
Cheers, Rory. We'll go with Scott from TalkSport, please.
Hey, Joe, you sit there now ahead of a big year for English cricket in 2021, the T20 World Cup, home and away series against India, and of course the Ashes at the end of the year. How does it feel for you, sat there now, that you have the opportunity to lead this side to something special in 12 months' time, hopefully?
Yeah, I mean, it's a huge honour to captain England at any stage, but with the amount of cricket and the opportunities that lie ahead, it's a really exciting time for me and the whole team. And it'd be really nice to start well on this tour. Get off to a good start here in Galle, and hopefully then carry that forward for the rest of the winter and beyond. We know there's a lot of hard work to come. There's going to be a lot of different challenges, especially in this COVID pandemic, and whether that's resting, rotating players, the bubble life. There's a number of things that we'll have to be very smart with and deal with very well as a management group, and as players individually as well, and collectively. So there are a number of different things that will be very different to previous years. Not just the amount of cricket that we'll be playing, but also the different challenges along the way. And if we manage them well, we'll give ourselves a really good chance, because we've got a great bunch of players, a great squad of players with a huge amount of talent, and we're definitely on an upward curve as a side. So hopefully we can continue that.
And speaking to Ed Smith at the start of the tour, he was saying we're taking this winter as 3 blocks of 2 test matches rather than 2 against Sri Lanka and 4 against India. And some of the players have accepted they won't play all 6 test matches this winter. Has there been discussions with you about you playing all 6 test matches this winter? Because we don't often see the England captain not play a test match, but I guess we're living in strange times.
We are living in strange times, but at the minute I plan to play all 6. As I mentioned, we'll have to make sure that as with every player, we keep having conversations about that and make sure that the right decisions are made for each individual.
And just finally for me, we saw pictures in the nets yesterday of you speaking to Jacques Kallis. Firstly, how good is it to have someone like Jacques around the camp, and what have you learned from him over the last couple of days?
Yeah, I mean, it's very early days in his time out here, but he's been brilliant. Just his wealth of knowledge of these conditions playing out here previously. And someone like that speaks, everyone listens. When we've had group meetings as a batting group in particular, and he spoke, the guys have listened intently and closely. And whether it be finding and managing a way of playing in these conditions, whether it be a few technical little things here and there, I'm sure throughout his time, the lads will be trying to take as much from him as possible, because he's a fantastic player and also now quite an established coach. So it's great to have him around the group, and look forward to the rest of the trip with him.
Good luck, Joe.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll go with Faisal Kamal, please.
Hi, Joe. Nice to have you. Joe, as you talked about, you did talk about a long England playing season. How do you see these 6 test matches? Does that World Test Championship is at the back of your mind, playing in the final?
Yeah, I mean, we've got to make sure that we win the majority of those games to get there. But ultimately, we've just got to look after what's right in front of us, try and get the right result in this first game and get off to a good start and then take it from there. It's such a cliche, but one step at a time for the group. And as I say, there's a lot of cricket to be played, so it's very dangerous to look too far ahead. Of course, we've got to prepare and plan for what's around the corner. And it's very exciting that that's still an opportunity for us to get to that World Test Championship final. But ultimately, we've just got to look after what's happening here and now and try and make sure that we start strong in that first session tomorrow morning.
Thank you.
Okay, Chris Stocks and then Will Macpherson, please.
Hey Joe, the world has changed, remarkably in the last year or so, but it seems not even a global pandemic can stop Australia from having to apologise profusely for their on-field behaviour. I just wondered whether that's whetted the appetite in the back of your mind for the Ashes and whether you're expecting similar treatment when you guys go there later this year.
I will be looking after ourselves and making sure that we do things how we want to do them moving forward. I think just the fact that there's an Ashes in 12 months' time is enough to get the guys motivated and something to look forward to. But as I said, our focus right now is on this winter and these first 2 test matches here in Sri Lanka. Of course, we'll be watching, all the guys will be watching that test match. I think it's a fantastic series so far and looking forward to watching the last game as well. But for us, it's just making sure that we keep looking to keep improving as a team and try and take the opportunities to win as many games as we can right now.
Okay, Will, and then we'll take one more. Go ahead, Will.
Hi, Joe. There's a lot of focus on spin, obviously, in Sri Lanka, but I just wondered whether you've obviously got a lot of different types of fast bowler in your squad. How do you see, what sort of role do you see raw pace playing? And I'm thinking of Mark Wood and Ollie Stone, particularly there with Jofra away.
Yeah, I think that throughout the winter, we will definitely try and exploit that as a tactic in these conditions, whether it's reverse swing or maybe slightly more hostile spell of bowling. I think that it can be very effective in these conditions. You saw last time around the role that Ben played had quite a big influence on some of the games and certainly be a very strong wicket-taking option out here. So I do think with the weather around as well that we've had quite a lot of rain and there's a lot of moisture around. So seam might play a bigger part than might be spoken about previously. We'll have to wait and see. But ultimately, all we can do is try and make sure that the guys are ready to go and very clear on what their role will be when those games come round and when the opportunities come. To get the ball in hand and really make an impact on the game.
Okay, I think we're done. Thanks very much, everyone.